Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's a big day. I'm going to harvest this cacao pod. Let me walk over. The thing about cacao pods is you got to know when to harvest them, and some people say that the way to know is by scratching the cacao pod, looking underneath, and if you see green, not ready to go. Other people say you take the cacao pod, you hold it, you bang it. If it sounds kind of like hollow, then it's ready. But that hasn't worked very well for me. I actually did that on the first harvest from this cacao pod, and what happened was that the cacao was ready, but it was a little bit too ripe. So today we're going to do different. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to harvest this, and I'm going to come in a little closer to show you what I'm talking about, and then we'll actually clip it off, we'll open it, and I'll show you what's inside. See if I was right or was I wrong. Okay, so I zoomed in pretty close, and you can see that little indentation. It's kind of like a little beige circle right there, more or less center down, just a little bit to the left. And I'll try to put a little arrow in case you can't see it, but it's pretty visible. So what I did is I came home yesterday evening and I scratched it. I wanted to see if it was ready, and I'm pretty sure it's ready. Now, I was told, as I earlier mentioned, that another way to know is to bang it with your knuckles and kind of listen to see if you hear any movement and if it's kind of like hollow on the inside. Now I did do that last year when I harvested one of the pods, and it was fine, but it was just a little bit, I hate to describe it this way, but it was like it was on the verge of being a little bit way too ripe. You know, it was just, some of them were a little bit too mushy and dark and nasty looking, but nevertheless, you know, it worked out okay. Those seeds I did not consume. I ate a few of them, I tasted them and it tasted really good, but some of them had an off taste. I did in fact plant those seeds and actually already have sold seedlings from those trees. Now, getting back to this cacao and the knuckles, right? So if you hit it with your knuckles, I think maybe it's a little bit too far. So I'm gonna do it different today. Today I'm gonna harvest it the way it is now, and we're gonna open it up and we're gonna take a look and see what those cacao beans and what that pulp looks like, and we'll taste one as well. Okay, so before I harvest this pod, I want to point out something important. When you do harvest your cacao pod, it's really important that you don't take it, hold it, grab it, twist it, pull it. That's terrible, because if you do that, you damage the cushions or the places where the flowers develop. So never go to your cacao pod and just yank it off or twist it. It's really, really terrible to do that. It really sets the tree back, damages it. It's just terrible to do that. Don't do it, okay? So if you're gonna cut the pod, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna look and you're gonna leave a little stub behind. So cut as close as you can to the top, leaving a little piece there and leaving a little stub over here. That's very important, okay? Now I still have 3 other ones here, and later I'll show you the ones that are in the ground that actually have pods, but they're not ready yet. Now, let's shake it, and it's pretty firm and solid. There's no movement in there. And right now, this is the only second pod I've ever harvested off of my trees, or off of any tree, to be honest with you, so I don't know. But according to what everybody says, that indication there is important. Now normally you'll take a machete, or some people use a club, and they'll club it and then they'll crack it. But I don't have a machete handy, so I'm just gonna use this knife and be real careful. So we're gonna go around like this. Try not to lose a finger. It's here. Oh, that's looking pretty good. You can see they call that the placenta, and all of the beans are in there. And let's take one and taste it. Wow, that's really good. So what's the secret? I think the secret is take it and scratch it. And if you've got beige underneath, you're all set. I don't think it's necessary to bang it, because by that point it might be a little bit too fermented. But again, that might be okay. If you have an idea about that, whether it's actually beneficial to be a little bit more ripe, go ahead and leave a comment. Anyway, we're gonna go over sorry, I'm talking to you guys while I'm eating this, but this is so citrusy flavored that maybe it could have stayed on another day or two. I don't know, but it tastes pretty good to me. It's nice and soft. The seed looks nice, looking really good. All right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna walk over. I'm gonna show you the other cacao tree. All right, so this is what I think is one of my best cacao trees, and I've only got 3 of them, okay? 2 of them are in the ground. The one in the container is actually very, very good, but it is in a container. Now, it may have been even better productivity if it had been in the ground, but I wanted to get the hang of growing the cacao tree in both the container and in the ground, and I've learned a lot by having done that. The other tree will go in the ground. Very soon it will be going in the ground. The problem with that tree is that because it's been in the container and in the same spot for quite a while, the root has actually now grown into the ground. And until I harvest those additional 3 pods, I'm not moving it because I want those pods, and I may shock out the tree and lose leaves, pods, whatever. I don't want to lose them, so I want my 3 pods. Then I'm going to move it to a spot. Still debating where, but I got a couple of ideas. Look at these beauties here. 1, 2. I got 1, 2. I got one in the back. I don't know if you can see it. And you can see here, this one's coming back now, loaded with flowers again. It's coming back. So we're getting quite a bit of flowers, and these are pretty good sized pods. Now, pretty certain that these are Forastero hybrids, a variety of Forastero. There's 3. There's Criollo, there's Forastero, and there's Trinitario. Now, I shouldn't say there's 3. There's actually many other varieties. There's one called Nacional. There's others, okay? So over the years and years and years of hybridization that's been going on with cacao, many improvements have been made. So now there's more than just 3. But we focus on these 3 because they're the predominantly recognized varieties. For example, Criollo is an extremely high quality cacao. Problem is, Criollo is extremely disease prone. So, you know, you're gonna have to work real hard to use a lot of controls, you know, whether they be pesticides, organic or otherwise. You're gonna need a lot of input to make those Criollos produce well and be less prone to disease. Forastero is, for me here in Florida, been doing great. Now, I could be wrong. This maybe this isn't Forastero. I think it's Forastero. I'm pretty certain it's Forastero, or like I said, a hybrid. If you think it's a different variety, if you have more experience and you want to share that, go ahead and share that in the comments. We welcome all of the comments. Not a big deal. Really appreciate that, as a matter of fact. Okay, the tree's doing really good. The one behind it, though, not so good. Okay, it's got one nice pod on it, and we'll go over there. I'll show you. Now, this is my 3rd tree, the 2nd in the ground. And it's okay. I mean, it's produced a pod, but it's not a very vigorous grower. It has not really done much to hold on to pods. Most of the cacao will produce thousands and thousands of flowers throughout the year, and yet harvest, maybe you'll end up with 10% actual pods. That's just the way it is. But there are trees that are better, you know, producers than others, obviously. And when you have trees that are grown from seeds, you don't know what you're going to get. So I really was fortunate that I planted these 3 trees in the ground, well, these 2 in the ground and the other one in the container. And out of the 2 in the ground, I got one that, to me, for my purposes, is a champ. It's doing great. And the one in the container is another champ that's doing great. This guy, not so great. So when you're growing from seed, you really don't know what you're going to get. It's kind of like going to the casino and rolling the dice. Well, the question is, do I really want to keep him longer and keep seeing how he's going to develop? Probably what I will do, and I've attempted to do, but I did it during the cool season, which wasn't too smart. Now things are getting better, it's getting warmer, and I've tried another graft. This is a graft that I did here, small graft on the bottom, and I did another graft over here. So the last graft failed and did not work. It started looking good, but then it just died, and I'm pretty sure it was just way too cold. The temperatures in the evening were in the low 40s. And one night it was like 38 degrees. So, you know, I tried it at a time of year that probably wasn't the right time, but we'll see. We'll see if we get better now with these other grafts. This is a patch graft, and there's another one down there that's a little bud that I attached down to the bottom. Again, don't have a lot of experience grafting cacao. I've grafted many other things, but we're learning, and we'll share what we learn with you guys and gals. Anyway, so that's about it. That's all I've got for you. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a comment, We welcome your comments, as I said earlier. And go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We'll be bringing you more about growing cacao. And I do have some trees soon available for sale. So check out my peppiesplants.com. And again, you know, hit that subscribe button, will you? Leave a comment. Thank you. Have a great one.